Welcome to the Inside UMSL podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and today I'm joined by Dr. Scott Morris, Director of the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center at the University of Missouri St. Louis, and current UMSL student Jesse Frey. Welcome, you guys. How you doing today?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for asking.
I'm good. Glad to be here.
We're going to dive right in. Scott, can you tell me a little bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. So I spent 30 years in the corporate world, primarily working for private equity-owned businesses. So my job was to come in after the firm had been bought and help them grow, just unleash rapid growth. So the typical story was the private equity firm would buy a business that was doing about 100 million, maybe 250 million in revenue. We would try to grow it to $1 billion and then sell it. So I did that for 30 years. At the age of 50, I retired. I came to UMSL to get my doctorate, and my hope was that I would have a second career with more significance, something to give back. And so I wanted to be a professor and work with students. And as I was defending my dissertation, I wrote about how to scale software businesses. They offered me this job. And so not only do I get to work with students, but I also get to work with businesses in the community. So we work with a lot of startup businesses, help them scale and kind of reach that next level. So it literally is a dream come true, where I get to work with students, which is what I was looking to do in the second half. Yeah. But I also get to use that skill set and all those contacts that I developed over 30 years to help local businesses. So I couldn't be happier. It's absolutely a dream come true.
What was it that mainly attracted you to coming to UMSL for your degree?
Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah.
So I looked at several programs. Obviously, at the age of 50, that's not the typical time that people go back to get a doctorate, right? Yeah. And so I really felt more comfortable with UMSL's, kind of brand is that they cater to the non-traditional student. So I definitely was on the older end of the spectrum of my classmates, but I wasn't unusual. So the average age was, somewhere maybe late 30s, early 40s. So I wasn't just a complete outlier.
Yeah.
And I thought, the UMSL program, a lot of programs will take younger students that are newly out of college and just kind of continue them in academia. The UMSL program really caters to what we call practitioners. So those are people that have been in the business world and now want to return to academia.
That's super fascinating. And so a lot of your giving back is to the students and the community, or is there one that you focus on more than the other?
We try to make sure that everything we do is with the students first, right? Mm-hmm. So even as we're working with the businesses in the community, our goal is to strengthen those businesses, fund those businesses for purposes of creating internships, like meaningful experiential learning for our students, and ultimately creating jobs.
Yeah.
And so as we develop these connections with businesses in the area, they start to feel some loyalty to UMSL. They get what we're about, and then it's an easy way to plug our students in. So ultimately, the heart is always first and foremost for the students, and helping the local businesses is one way to help our students.
That's really smart. I didn't even piece that together while listening to you talk about that. I like that a lot. So Jesse, your turn. Tell me a little about your background.
So I kind of did things backwards. Out of high school, I didn't want to go to school. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is not for me. I hate school. So I joined the military, Coast Guard.
Okay.
And did 6 years active, and then decided that it was time to go back to school. Didn't see really the Coast Guard as a full-time job or as my future. Got out, still in the reserves, and decided to go back to school.
You're still currently in the reserves?
Yes, I am.
That's amazing. What made you choose UMSL?
Well, I left when I was 18, and you miss a lot. You do a lot of cool things, but you miss a lot, like family, holidays. I would come back for either Thanksgiving or Christmas, but not both. And I just thought coming back here would be a great opportunity to see family again and finish school.
So you're from the area?
I am.
Okay, cool. How long have you lived in the area?
I grew up here, but I just moved back a couple years ago.
Okay. And where are you from, Scott?
I was born in Florida, lived in St. Louis. We moved to St. Louis in 2001. I started my career in New York City. I spent 7 or 8 years there. Lived in Indianapolis for a while. So I've moved around a little bit.
Yeah,
but St. Louis is home. We've been here since 2001.
Okay. That's awesome. Scott, what inspired you to move from the corporate jobs to working with student entrepreneurs? Was that your first choice when you decided you were done with the corporate world, was to come straight to working with students?
No. What happened was when we moved to St. Louis in 2001, I joined a group of men that would meet once a week, and we were reading a book called Halftime. And so Halftime, it's a good read, but it has a very, very profound principle, and it just hit me square between the eyes. And so the author talks about having two careers. Your first career is focused on success, and your second career is focused on significance. Working for private equity is something I would never, ever trade. I would never take it back. It was a wonderful experience. I met some wonderful people. But at some point, it started to feel a little bit hollow.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was really just making really wealthy people just a little bit more wealthy. And then I read that book, and it really spoke to me. So I set a goal. That was probably in my mid-30s when I read that. And I just set a goal that I want to have a second career doing something of significance. And so 15 years of thinking about it kind of led me here. And I decided that, what I liked was building teams, working with young employees, giving them skills to succeed, and getting those phone calls, 10 years after I had finished working with them, saying, hey, thanks, you meant something in my life. I'm like, boy, where could I do that? And it led me to academia. So I really just thought I'd be working with, undergraduate students. And this is fantastic, where you get to do both, have those worlds collide.
So you work at the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that looks like?
Sure. Yeah. So we are working on programming for the undergraduate students. One of our big pushes is to, our goal, our job here at UMSL is really to launch these students, give them the best possible education that we can, but prepare them for the workforce. And so whether you want to be an entrepreneur and own your own business, or what I really think of myself as an intrapreneur, that was really what my background was, where I worked for large corporations, but I was an agent of change. I helped those corporations transform, grow into something that they weren't, maybe reignite growth. I've worked for really large companies that had just stopped growing. And so they bring in a person like me that can help unlock that next wave of growth. And so I want to pass those skills on to the students. One of the ways that we do that is by making sure that they have lots of interaction and overlap with tons of people in the community. So we set up a lot of networking events. I'm sure Jesse will talk a little bit about some of the student pitch competitions that he's been involved in, and how we pair students up with mentors, people that have kind of been there, done that. And we don't just want to cater to students that want to eventually own their own business, but also those that just want to have a really fruitful, kind of fast-moving career. I think if we can give our students these entrepreneurship skills, which are the same as the entrepreneurship skills, it's just you apply them in a larger setting, they're going to get promoted faster than their peers. They're going to go further than their peers, to the extent that they want to push it. So it's really that unique programming that sets our students up for success in the real world.
That's cool. And so Scott talked about the top down, what it looks like from above looking in on how things work. What is it like from the inside out, being someone who went through this?
Yeah. So when I came here to UMSL in 2022, I think whenever you try to do entrepreneurial activities or a venture, I think the lack of motivation is there, but the motivation is there, but lack of
information about the next step.
Yes. Lack of knowledge. And that's where UMSL really played a part in that, is educating, showing the next steps, how to progress through that idea or that business, and really gives you the foundation to set you up for success.
Did you come in with your own business idea, or did you discover one while here?
I did. I had some ideas before and kind of was building it, just like the beginning stages of it before. But one of the cool things while I was searching for a school, UMSL's Accelerator program, Entrepreneurial and Innovation Center came up, and I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need to get this off the ground. And the different pitch competitions, mentors really just stood out to me, and it's been a phenomenal experience.
What are some of the tools that have helped you with the business idea that you have? And we'll get into what the business idea is in a little bit, but like the journey to get there, what are some of the tools that were afforded you by being here at UMSL?
Well, when Scott first started, he sent out an email to all the students letting us know that he was taking over. So I scheduled an appointment, and he said that was the first student he ever met.
Really?
Yeah, on campus. And he just asking questions like saying, where do I go with this? How do I start with this? And then getting into the club, entrepreneurial club, and just being a part of EIC, you just get plugged in. There's events, mentors, pitch competitions, and you just get connected with all these different people and people from different backgrounds and experience. It all kind of fits together, and you gain so much experience and knowledge from these people that have done it before.
So you both have said repeatedly pitch competitions. What does that look like?
So you have a business idea and you pitch it to a group of judges, and they grade you based on your presentation, the business idea, how you present it, and if there's like a spark that the judges see that you're passionate about it.
And the business that you pitched, what was that business?
So it's Headlok. It's a accessory for carrying your hat on a motorcycle. So I'm really big in motorcycles, ride them out. In the military, I was out in California, rode motorcycles almost every day, and lost a couple hats. And that was a big kind of like light bulb went off in my head and saying, there's a bunch of other motorcyclists that ride. You take off your helmet, you got helmet hair, you carry a hat with you.
Yeah.
So kind of designed it, but didn't really pursue it until I came back here to St. Louis and decided to push ahead through that.
Are you wearing a hat now because you have helmet hair?
No, I'm just a big fan of hats.
Okay,
I collect them. My hair is combed. So
okay, good.
Yeah.
So you pitch this idea for Headlok. What happens after that pitch?
So whether you get placed, if you get first, second, or third, you get some seed money, but the contacts that you make in that are more valuable. That people that have either in the marketing field or they know dealerships, motorcycle dealerships that can help you promote it, manufacture it. That was one of the big parts of that.
One of the things that we try to do is create a community. So we're trying to create this like gravitational pull around the program. And so for this, in the fall, the students pitch an idea.
Okay.
And in the spring, they'll actually tell us how they've advanced the idea. But what we did was we took, I don't know, I think it was probably about 20 students, wouldn't you guess, down to Cortex?
Yeah.
So about 20 students rode the train down to Cortex. Cortex is the local incubator.
Okay.
And so we took a tour, saw like what it looks like if you're going to start your own business. You've got to be comfortable working in this really small space. But it's very cool if you're into that thing, right? There's a lot of collaboration with other small businesses. It's a huge warehouse type building. And so we saw the space, but then we invited, I don't know, probably 25. If we had 20 students, we probably had 25 mentors.
Yeah.
And so the mentors then pitch the students. The mentors get up and they tell their story. Here's who I am. Here's what my business is. And we were encouraging the mentors to trash talk a little bit, to say, here's why, if you want to win that prize, you should work with me because, and so they give their story, but they try to do it in a fun and very competitive way. And then the students pick their mentor based on the mentor pitches. And so what Jesse's referring to is, these mentors work not just with their direct student, but they're in the room together. So we're doing it kind of as a full group, right? So when they did their pitches, there's probably 50, 60 people in the room, including the mentors. But everybody's it's a little bit like fantasy football. They're all trying to win and talk trash to each other, but they're also cheering for each other, and you get to know one another, and you know each other's pitches pretty well by that time. You've heard each other's business ideas a few times.
That's
and
cool.
So now the mentors are starting to bring contacts. So Jesse gets approached by people all the time saying, hey, Jesse, you should think about using your product for the boating industry. So boating enthusiasts have the same problem.
Yeah.
We want to wear a hat, but we can't do it when we're traveling at high speeds and we're always losing hats. And so he's getting ideas like that. And we've had several people make introductions to people that own motorcycle dealerships that can talk to Jesse to talk about, hey, here's how you would get a product listed at our store. And so that's what we're trying to do, is just create an ecosystem. And it works. So many of those mentors were people that owned businesses that UMSL had helped through our accelerator program.
Got it.
And so they come back because they had a great experience to pour into our students. And we want Jesse to come back in 5 or 10 years to tell, the younger version of Jesse, boy, if I had known what I know now when I was your age, these are the things I would do. So we're just trying to create gravitational pull, and everybody's just cheering for everybody, and it's really fun. And we had an Entrepreneur of the Year ceremony Tuesday night this week.
That's cool.
And so everybody comes in, and Jesse was one of our winners. He won the Student Entrepreneur of the Year. But it's a community where everybody's just cheering for each other. We celebrate each other's wins, and we just want to keep pouring into that next generation.
Yeah.
It's we're spreading that message of significance. And one of UMSL's taglines is, we transform lives. And so we're trying to get people in the community, whether you have any connection to UMSL or you just have gone through our accelerator program and have good feelings about the school, to pour back in and to help transform the lives of others, and eventually we transform communities.
From what I'm hearing, because as an entrepreneur you wear a bunch of hats, ironically enough, a bunch of hats, is what you're trying to do is build the connections while you're here at UMSL, so that as you wear a new hat, you have a connection to reach out to help with that new hat that you may not be familiar with, whether it be in the accounting department or figuring out how to scale your business or who to talk to about creating the product. So specifically with your product, what are some things that you've learned in this process that you didn't know going into it?
Pretty much everything. I I didn't know a lot. I have the skills I had an idea.
Yeah.
But after that, I was clueless. How do I get manufacturing done? How do I market this? How do I create content? How do I get this thing out there? And just the people I've met, one was in charge of motorcycle eyewear that fits in their helmet so it doesn't create a headache, you know. And just how they use influencers to, spread out the news for the product. And Steve Howell, he was in charge of a motorcycle magazine for 20 years, and now he works at Experience Fresh. And he just had so many ideas on how to present the product, how to make it shine in ads
And he was Jesse's mentor in the recent pitch.
So that's the mentor that you chose?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of connected. He loves motorcycles and I do, so it was a perfect fit.
Of course, naturally.
And you worked with the supply chain department faculty too, right, to get your manufacturing off the ground?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was really struggling with finding a manufacturer. I was working with Alibaba.
Okay.
And there's just not a lot of oversight. They can deliver a bad product and you don't really have a lot of say on how it looks, and quality control. Yeah, perfect. And so I reached out to Mark Bauer, one of the faculty here in charge of the entrepreneur school, and he had contacts here in St. Charles that had manufacturing over in China. So I was able to work with them, and my product is now in the process of getting manufactured.
Really?
Yes.
How much longer do you have till it hits storefronts or till you're ready to start selling it online?
So I just got samples back a few weeks ago, and there was another iteration that I had to go with. There was a few changes, but I should get samples here next week and then go into full production. So hopefully before Christmas.
That's cool. Are you a business major?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, in marketing.
Okay. Do you have to be a business major to be a part of the entrepreneurship program?
In fact, we want students from all the different colleges on campus because, when you think about what we're trying to do, like our engineering students, our IS students, these are people that can be deep agents of transformation. If you really are a successful engineer, you need to know how to get an idea from your head into market, like exactly what Jesse's describing. So we absolutely want to work with those students. And, you think about, we have this fantastic optometry school. We have a lot of students that are majoring in biology that want to go on to be veterinarians. They will eventually have to run a small business.
Yeah.
So they need those business, tools and techniques. And so we absolutely think that all students, should be involved in the entrepreneurship club and our programming for EIC.
That's so interesting. And you said your marketing is your background.
Yes.
So then how does that connect with what you're trying to do with your product?
I think marketing plays a big part, and since it's a new product, it doesn't exist on the market, getting that out there for people to know that product exists is super important. And that's why I kind of chose it. Is now I have kind of like the back end business.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, but now the being able to get the product out there is most important now.
And you came into this with an idea. Do students have to come in ready with an idea of what they want to pitch or the business that they want to create to be a part of the entrepreneurship program?
Honestly, I'd be interested in Jesse's opinion, but some of the pitches that we heard at the recent student competition were ideas that the students came up with over the course of about a month. And some of them were incredibly compelling. Like, wow, I can't believe one of the students came up with an idea. And when you think about all the waste involved in prescriptions, the bag, the labels, just tons and tons of waste. And so she came up with an idea to cut down on that waste stream. A lot of great ideas that people only had just started thinking.
Yeah.
Jesse's had a lot of time to refine his, and so his was really well polished. So I think it probably helps, but it's absolutely not necessary.
Yeah, I just think that being in a community of like-minded individuals, I think that just gets people thinking. They see other people have ideas, and then they start seeing what's around them and opportunities that they wouldn't have seen before being part of this program.
Cool.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, we hear from a lot of the students like, wow, and some of what we're trying to do is just get them comfortable speaking in front of a group of people and just giving them the courage to express an idea. So half the battle is just telling someone, I have this idea and I'm not quite sure what to do with it. That's a very vulnerable spot to be, right?
Yeah.
And so just feeling comfortable having those conversations. And it's rewarding for us to be standing by with all the resources of a major university. We're a tier 1 research institution, and so we've got all these incredible researchers around, and people that are able and willing to contribute to the development of the idea. And half of it's just drawing it out, just like start to feel comfortable talking to people about it. Being okay that it's not perfect. You don't have to have the answers.
Yeah.
We'll help you find the answers, but you got to take that first step and just be comfortable talking about it.
Yeah. Do you think you've grown more comfortable talking about your product while here at UMSL than before?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was when I got here, I didn't like public speaking. I've never enjoyed it, and just in the classes with giving speeches and then pitching in front of people all looking at you, it's nerve-wracking, but once you do it, it's so much easier the next time, and you just get comfortable. You start, find your
footing or your confidence.
Your footing, yeah. And it just when you think about it, and it's supposed to be fun, then it takes away a lot of the scariness of public speaking.
I like thinking that it's supposed to be fun. I mean, you're pitching an idea that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So you've been all over the place. New York, I think you said Indiana. What makes St. Louis so special about having an entrepreneurship and innovation program in this city?
Yeah, the ecosystem in St. Louis is fantastic. It's overlooked, and it's one of the fastest growing regions for entrepreneurs. And there are resources pouring in, every day. So the government is really getting behind some programs to try to spark innovation. There's organizations like Missouri Technology Corporation, that's a public-private entity that's offering funding. We just had a meeting this morning. We're collaborating with other grant programs in town. There's a lot of great programs that give away a lot of money. We want to be that education arm. So we want to insert ourselves into the ecosystem as that education piece and connect them with connect the small businesses with sources of funding so that they can scale and grow. So the ecosystem, the pieces are all there. You need a guide to kind of help you navigate it.
Yeah.
But that's where UMSL comes in and other folks, and we just want to be kind of a go-to source of information, if not direct help.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Anchor Accelerator program?
UMSL is an anchor institution. We represent the anchor communities, which are those immediately around the university. What we see is that some very large disproportionate amount of students at UMSL are from the area and stay in the area. That makes us very unique relative to the other schools in town, where there's a lot of students coming in from all points of the earth, right? And then they go back to those points of the earth.
Yeah.
Our students live and stay here. So our communities are immediately around the university tend to be highly diverse. And so we have a large number of the founders and the businesses that we work with, and truly our passion and our heart is for those historically underrepresented groups.
Yeah.
And so we really encourage participation there. We do great programs even over the summer months with groups like Girls Inc., where we can start at a very early age to impact those women that want to go on and have great professional careers, whether it's owning their own business or just succeeding somewhere else, whatever their career choice may be. But we really want to just inspire them, give them confidence, put them around other people that look like them that have been successful. They've kind of navigated those paths, and then they come back to pour into those same folks.
That's really awesome. How does being part of a research institution help with the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center?
Well, we're the highest level of research institution. We're a tier 1 research institution, which means that our professors are actually writing new theory, making new discoveries. Yeah. They are the publishers that are pushing the envelope in all these areas. So as a student like Jesse comes to us with questions around product design, supply chain, how do I engineer or manufacture that? We literally have the people that are making these discoveries and pushing boundaries on these topics, so we can put subject matter experts right at his fingertips. And who knows, maybe his case becomes a paper that appears in an academic journal for some reason. So the faculty is just as interested in working with him, because that's fodder for their research, while he benefits because they're helping with the product design or product development or whatever it is that the student might be working on.
It's a great relationship there. Are there any upcoming projects or programs that students can get excited for at the EIC?
Always. We run kind of a 12-month cycle, so the programming is constantly changing. So really we form the club, the Entrepreneurship Club, every fall. And then we start with activities to just get them comfortable. They hear from some founders. They get ready for their pitch competition that occurred in October this year. And then we move into the Accelerator, which is with the community. We'll award, this year it'll be 15 companies. We'll enter into our Accelerator, where we educate them, pair them with students who help write business plans. Programming in the spring for the students in the club also continues, where they do a full pitch competition. The pitch in the fall, the top prize is $1,000. The pitch in the spring is $5,000. And then we'll continue to introduce them to different mentors. We have a local founder that started an app, and he sells it to restaurants. And so you, as a customer, you can leave a financial tip for your waitstaff and tip a meal to a homeless person.
Wow.
And so we'll have the students gather to do social engagement events where they'll help distribute the meals to the homeless population. Yeah. So we try to do things like that where we're engaging with the community while also developing the students.
What's your favorite part about campus life, and how do you spend your free time on campus?
Favorites? I would say the Nosh. It's the food center.
Oh, okay.
In the cafeteria.
Is it called, like, the name of it is the Nosh, or that's the name that everyone's given it?
It's called the Nosh.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm a big foodie, and I'm always eating. I'm always snacking. So I got to be close to the food options.
What's your favorite thing at the Nosh?
Probably the teriyaki bowl. Yeah.
Sounds delicious. What's one thing that you wish you knew before coming to UMSL?
how to get connected faster, and all the clubs and all the resources that are available. I wish I would have more like just taken advantage of it quicker and I guess not dragged my feet as much.
Yeah, so just dove right in once you got here.
Yeah.
And then what's been your most memorable experience in college so far?
I think it was the demo day. I enjoyed that so much. Demo day was when the last cohort kind of just gave their pitches to a big group of people, founders, people that are big in the St. Louis area in business. And I was an intern for one of those startups. I was able to give my experience about the internship and kind of give my pitch about Headlok too, and it was really fun. I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be, but I met a lot of great people, and it was really fun.
It's like 300 people in the audience that night, so it was legit.
You pitched to 300 people?
Yes, on stage, bright lights.
Wow.
And that was the first, other than the one at the EIC building in front of maybe 20 people. That was all I'd ever done.
That's crazy.
Before that. So
that's a big step from 20 to 300. That's a big step. All right, Scott. What's one book, movie, or TV show that you think everyone should experience at least one time?
Oh, okay. I have to pick one. Well, I love to read, and so I am currently into Arthur Brooks, who is a happiness guru. And so I love his book, Strength to Strength, but he has another one out called Love Your Enemies and Live the Life You Want, or Build the Life You Want is another one of his. So I would read Strength to Strength or Build the Life You Want from Arthur Brooks.
I like that.
Yeah.
If you could spend a day as a student in any other department, which department would you pick and why?
Oh, man, I can't pick entrepreneurship.
No, you got to pick a different one.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I think I would love to do something just like completely different and do something in the arts. So, go over to our wonderful School of the Arts and have them just completely embarrass me learning to play an instrument or something.
Which instrument specifically would you pick?
Maybe piano. I feel like that would be a useful instrument to know how to play, and you could occasionally practice that.
Yeah, occasionally practice. I like that. What's a hobby or interest you have that students might be surprised to find out that you do?
Well, I love to run, so I do a lot of running. You might not guess that from my physique, which is suffering. The other thing that unique skill that I have is I have a unique ability to pick up foreign languages. So I speak fluent German. I speak pretty passable Spanish, and I can pick up other things relatively quickly. It's just one of those things. I have a son that's wired the same way. It's just one of those freaky skills that we both have.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Yeah. That's it. Was there more to the question?
No, I don't have. That's all I ever learned. I can't go any further. You know more than me.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you both for joining me. I had a fantastic time getting to know you guys.
Likewise. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.